Hello, and welcome to the inaugural edition of the Washington Update provided to the Missouri and Kansas State Associations. Working in collaboration with both Kansas and Missouri, I hope to continue to provide updates in a timely fashion of the interesting issues taking place in Washington, D.C. in order to help enhance the efforts of GRAG Advertising as well as the Kansas and Missouri State Association. So without further ado, today's Washington Update is going to touch on two things. First, the federal regulations, final regulations with regard to gainful employment, as this is being taped on Wednesday, the 29th of October, have been sent from the U.S. Department of Education over to the Federal Register for final publication. We anticipate that the Federal Register for Friday, October 31st, will include those final regulations, meeting the master calendar deadline and providing the opportunity for the department to implement the new regulations by July 1, 2015. Prior to their publication in the Federal Register, we anticipate that tomorrow, October 30th, the Department of Education and the administration will put forward a press release and unveil that to the public prior to its actual official publication in the Federal Register. To that end, we will continue to provide updates to the Kansas City and the Kansas and the Missouri membership regarding gainful employment and what the final outcome of Gainful Employment 2.0 is. What we're also doing is tracking on behalf of, we're less than a week away from the next round of federal elections that will develop the 114th Congress. And as we lead into that 114th Congress, we're tracking a number of races, both at the state level as well as nationally, that have impact on the House Education and the Workforce Committee and the Senate Health Committee. To that end, we're going to be providing you all on your website with some information on the local seats and the scorecard for you to track those races that are important to us from an education committee perspective at the local level, as well as information on the overall Senate Health Committee and House Education and the Workforce Committee changes that will impact the individuals that will help determine the next reauthorization of the Higher Education Act. On the Senate side, there is only one race. And it's an important one, the race between incumbent Senator Pat Roberts and his challenger, independent Greg Orman. I don't need to tell you all that this is a highly contested race as we reach the final days, less than literally a week before the election. Depending on what poll you look at, Orman or Roberts are neck and neck, and literally most of the polls I've seen are within the margin of error. We will be watching this race very attentively as we head into next Tuesday. There are implications for this. As you all well know, Mr. Roberts serves on the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and therefore his position on that committee and the future of his position as a member of the Senate for the next 6 years would be important to the complexion of the incoming Senate as we look towards the next Health Committee and the committee that will work towards reauthorization. From a House perspective, once again, only one real race that we're tracking. Again, in the state of Kansas, not so much tracking or things that are of interest in Missouri, not to say that it's not important, but just candidly, all of the Missouri races seem to be so lopsided and so put to bed already, given whether it's Republican or Democrat, that there's really not a lot of a margin for error tracking that we need to do. But in the Kansas 3rd District, incumbent Kevin Yoder and challenger Kelly Kaluta are in a very close race. While it is a Republican-held seat, Kaluta has had a gain in recent weeks, and as we reach the final 6 days heading into the election, there is still a great deal of focus on this race. Why is it important to us? Because Yoder currently serves on the House Appropriations Committee. As you all well know, the appropriators set the stage for the Pell Grant levels, as well as a number of the other key funding levels that we look at from year to year. So Yoder's position on that committee and his influence on things like the maximum Pell Grant, access and eligibility for year-round Pell, ATB, the setting of interest rates, and other provisions related to funding are all key and important to us. In the broader perspective, as I said, you will also see on the Kansas and Missouri State website, their new website I might add, that we are also tracking the full committee structure in all of the races, not just those in Kansas and Missouri, but also those across the country, so that once the elections are over, we can start to look at the overall impact and the landscape of what the new committees will look like as we head into the 114th Congress. This has been Tom Netting on behalf of Ackerman and GRAG Advertising, providing you with the first Washington Update, the first of many to come. We hope that this helps provide you with timely information to help you become more effective advocates at both the state and federal level. Thank you and have a great day.